Hello, class, receiving students and teacher. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, what did we look at in our last lesson? Alan.
Have you got bone?
Have you got bone too was the topic. What did we actually look at? Thank you, Alan. What did we actually look at? Goodwin.
Function of the invertebrates and exoskeletons.
Again. Functions of the invertebrates and exoskeletons. Very good. We're looking at invertebrates. Invertebrates are animals without, everyone? Backbone. Okay, invertebrates are animals without backbones. The special invertebrates we're looking at were those with exoskeletons, or those who had skeletons on the outside. Now, what was one of the use of the skeletons that we looked at? What was one of the use of the exoskeleton of the invertebrate that we looked at? Can you think of any? Okay, let's have Daisy.
Protection.
One of the use was protection, and of course the exoskeleton also supports the invertebrate, body of the invertebrate, as well as protecting the body of the invertebrates. Good. Receiving teachers, we are still on the same strand, that's living things, substrand, and the same learning outcome, identifying and comparing the basic structure of living things. Our unit is still on the structure of living things, and our topic for today is on nice feathers. What's it used for? Okay, that's our topic for today. The materials that we're going to use for this lesson, we'll have some samples of feathers, and of course pictures of birds. Now, nice feathers, what's it used for? When you see that whole topic, what do you think of? What do you think of when you see the topic, nice feathers? What comes into your mind? Receiving students, you may also tell your teacher what comes into your mind when you see that topic. Right, let's hear from Bagley.
Traditional costumes.
Bagley thinks of traditional costumes. How about Evelyn? What do you think of when you see the topic? Nice feathers, what's it used for?
We use it for bilas.
We use it for bilas. Okay, she says we use it for bilas. Good, that's in line with what Bagley said. Bilas, or our traditional attire, dress. Clement.
For decoration.
For decoration. Good, we have many uses of the feathers that we can think of. I have in my hand here a sample of a feather from a bird. Now, this sample is from a bird there. You can see this is an example of a feather from a bird, and this feather has some of the uses to it, which we will look at in today's activities. What do you think this feather came from? Or where do you think this feather came from? Which bird did this feather come from? Michael, what do you think?
Eagle.
Eagle. He thinks it comes from an eagle. Ruthie, what do you say?
Duck.
Right, Ruthie thinks it's from a duck. Probably it's from an eagle, maybe it's from a duck. Okay, but this feather has its use. The main thing is this feather got its use. Probably it's from an eagle, maybe it's from a duck, or maybe another bird. But this feather has its use. Birds use their feathers for different things. Today I would like us to meet our little friend here. Okay, this is Kinney. Yeah? Let's call him Kinney. Right, Kinney is a bird. What type of a bird do you think Kinney is? Kinney. Walter.
Kingfisher.
Kingfisher. Why do you say Kinney is a kingfisher? Why do you think Kinney is a kingfisher? Walter says Kinney is a kingfisher. Francis, why do you think Kinney is a kingfisher?
Because of the color of the feathers.
Because of the color of the feathers? Yes, he thinks because of the color of the feathers. Lisa, what do you think?
Because its nose is very long and it catches fish.
Because its mouth is very long and it catches fish. Okay, good. Good scientific observation. She looks at the mouth of this little Kinney here, our friend. The mouth is long. Probably the mouth part is for catching the fish. Francis also saw the feathers. And the feathers, he sees the color of the feathers and it reminds him of a kingfisher. And so this is a kingfisher. The mouth part of this bird is also determining what sort of thing it eats. Or the beak of the kingfisher. Okay, so they're both correct. This is Kinney, the kingfisher. Okay, let us see how Kinney the kingfisher uses his feathers. We will be looking at his feathers. Much later we will look at his beak and other parts. But his feathers, how does he use his feathers? The first thing and most important is birds use their feathers for flight. That's the first thing. They use their feathers for flight. The long, you see those long feathers there? These long feathers here. It propels them through the air. This one's here. You know the propeller of the motor? Receiving students? Probably you should know the motor. Okay. Likewise, the same thing. It propels the bird to fly through the air. Makes the bird go forward. That's one of the uses of the feather. The other use of the feather is that it's for warmth. It gives the bird warmth. So you can see our little friend here up on the what? Power line. Power line is probably cold, so he's trying to make himself warm or hot. So maybe it's raining, so he's going and trying to make himself warm as possible. Okay, so that is what the feathers are used for, to warm the bird. Now the next one. Next one is displaying. It displays the birds. Okay, so take for example this flamingo here. The male bird is the colored one, the red one. And it's trying to attract the female one, which is of lesser color. So it's attracting it with the female one. That is a flamingo. We can have a flamingo or what other birds? Our very own bird of paradise. Okay, we can also have bird of paradise. Bird of paradise is also another bird that displays itself to attract the mates. And of course, we can have very beautiful one. The one just like the one Lisa brought there. Lisa, can you show your feather? That one, yeah. See that one? Lisa, show it up so your friends in the receiving school and in class can see. Okay, Lisa has a feather there. She brought a feather in today. That type of feather. Okay, that is also used for display. So on top here you can see a feather which is quite similar to what Lisa is holding. And that is of a peacock. Okay, this is a peacock. And it's using its feather to display to attract a mate to it. What do you think this bird is? Is it a he bird or a she bird? Receiving students, what do you think they are? Is it a male bird or female bird? Class? Okay, this is a male bird. It's trying to attract a female bird. So this is a male peacock. So that's one of its uses, is to display. The other use of it is to camouflage. So this one is like, you know, camouflage, like soldiers. They put on the uniforms in the jungle, they go against, okay. So this is quite similar, quite same. This bird is camouflaging against the green backdrop of this plant here. So maybe other birds cannot see it. Or birds can also camouflage in different ways. Maybe like this one. It is in the hollow of the tree, and then it puts out its feathers. It is using its feathers as a fake leaf. And when insects fly past, they quickly catch the insect. So that is what this bird is doing. It's camouflaging, it's hiding against the tree and putting out its feathers as a leaf. So that is one of those. And of course, the birds also use their feathers for protection. What do you think they protect themselves from? Protection. From they protect themselves from Kalen. What do you think this bird here protect itself from? By the way, what do you think this bird is called? Okay, that's a duck. Kalen, receiving students, you can also tell your teacher.
Enemies.
Kalen says enemies. Okay, it protects itself from enemies. Enemies like, what's an example of an enemy? Joshua, help your brother.
Eagle.
Eagle and probably hunters as well. Okay, so the feathers are used for protection. So the duck is, mainly they protect the bird's skin. Thank you. They protect the bird's skin from heat and other things. The bird's skin is very delicate, meaning that it's soft. So it's for protection. The bird's feathers can also be used for distraction. This is called a duck-eyed junco. It looks quite similar to what we call willy wagtail. Quite similar, but this duck-eyed junco, this bird here, it flies, and when a bigger bird or enemy is chasing it, it flashes its feathers. This white one here, it flashes it like this, and then it flies. It flies very quickly, and when the enemy is following it, then it hides its feathers and goes away, it distracts. And the enemy comes and looks for it. Or probably the enemy comes and goes one way without spotting the bird. So that's what it uses feathers for, distraction. Feathers can also be used for producing sounds. What's one bird that can use its feathers for sounds? Receiving students, what do you think they are? You can tell your teacher. Sconti.
Flying fox.
Flying fox. Sconti thinks it's a flying fox. Okay, receiving teachers and class, flying fox is not a bird. Flying fox is a mammal, flying mammal. Okay, but good. Flying fox, you also hear flying fox making sounds with the winds, But the question is feathers. Flying fox has wings, feathers that make sound. Bird. Samuel.
Eagle.
Eagle. Probably eagle makes sound, but eagle flies so high in the sky. Maybe if I do not know how we can hear the sound of the eagle's wings. Okay, this bird has a very big beak. It has a big beak. It doesn't catch fish. It flies in the air. It's black. The feather is black. Ruthie, what do you think? It produces sound with its feathers.
Crow.
Crow. Okay, good crow, black crow. But crow, maybe it produces sound with its voice. Going, ah, ah. That's a crow. But this is with a feathers. Tara.
Hornbill.
Thank you. Did you all hear that? Yes. A hornbill. Receiving students, hopefully you might have told your teacher or beat the model class to it. Okay, it is a hornbill. It is a hornbill. Like so. What do we call hornbill in Pidgin anyway? Or so. Okay, hornbill or kokomo is the one that produces the sound with its wings. And then there are other birds that fly very silently. They fly silently. They use their feathers to fly silently. An example of this bird is Joshua. Would you like to tell everyone? They fly silently in the night.
Eagle.
Eagle. Silent. Clement go, whoosh. That's not silent. Okay, what else? Eagles fly in the night? Do eagles fly in the night? Shannon. Let's hear what Shannon has to say.
Owl.
Owl. Okay, the owl. The owl. We call that stilt. Everyone say stilt. Receiving students, everyone together, stilt. Okay, meaning that they fly very silently. At the edges of the owls are what we call serrated feathers. At the back of your books, receiving students and class, at the back of your books where it says glossary, you will see what serrated means, serrated feathers. They are sort of cut, so they fly silently, or sharp edges like this. Okay, try doing this. Receiving students as well, class, you put your hands like this, and then near your ear you do this, and hear the sound of the wind that you produce, like this. Okay, now do this. Now do this. And then place it there. Right, which had the loudest? Your fingers brought together or your fingers spread apart? Fingers brought together. Your fingers brought together made a loud sound as it passed your ears. And those ones spread apart made a silent sound. So the owl's feathers are somewhat like that. In between those small feathers, they have serrated feathers so that when it flies silently. And so when the teens are sleeping in the night, it attacks its prey. Now the next use of the feather is, it is used to line nests. Sometimes the birds use them and then they put them to line up the nest for the young. They line them along the nests. You can see some feathers out there. They use that to line the nests, so to keep their baby birds warm. Okay. We also have parts of the feather there. Those are different parts of the feather. I would like you, there are some feathers which you brought, with your hand lens, you take a look at different parts as we go through. Okay, so on the diagram here is number one. Number one is what we call the van. That is the van of the feather. Van. V-A-N-E. That is the whole length of the feather. The van of the feather covers the whole length there. When you see your feather, the van covers this whole length here. Okay, from here, from at the top, right down to about there. That's the van of the feather. The whole length of the feather, somewhat there. Right, the next part. Next part, number 2, is the rachis of the feather, or bunblo feather. It's called the rachis. And then you have the barb. Now using the hand lens, you try to spot the barb of the feather. They are in between those feathers there. So you can use your hand lens and then you try to spot the barb of the feathers using the hand lens. Can you see the barb? Barb, you will find a barb in between the lining on the feather. So you place your hand lens and then you try to see where the barb of the feather is. You will see where the lining, in between the lines there, that is where the barb is located. The lining of the feather, and then you look in between the linings there. Those lines going out, and you will see the barb there. Right, receiving students, hopefully you can see the barb of the feather. That is the barb of the feather. Now the next part, part number 4. Part number 4 is called the after feather. You have the whole feather, and then at the end of it you have the after feather. The feather is going smaller, getting smaller, and it's a bit soft at the end. That is called the after feather. And right down at the bottom of the feather, a single feather, you will see a hollow shaft or something hollow there. That is called the calamus. At the bottom, right at the bottom there. When you look through it, there is a hollow part there. And this part here, the triplobumbleum, okay, that part is called the hollow shaft. Inside there, that's the hollow shaft, and it's called the calamus. Right, those are parts of the feather. Good, our activity. Instruction number 1. Here's what you need to do. Name an example of the bird that uses its feathers to display. So you put that down into your books. Name an example. Write it down in your exercise books. Receiving students, you do the same. Write it into your exercise book or your student workbooks. An example of a bird that uses its feathers to display itself. Maybe for mating or attracting. Got that? What do you think here, Kinney, our friend here, uses his feathers for? To display. Okay, the next one. What are 2 ways in which you use feathers? So you write down 2 ways in which you use feathers. Write that in your book, student worksheets. You write down 2 ways in which you as a human being use feathers? You got one. Number 3, you are to write a poem about your favorite bird. So you will write a poem about your favorite bird. Receiving teachers, you can collect those activities from your class and mark them. You will write a poem about your favorite bird. Good. For number 3, you can write the poem as your homework. Write down the poem as your homework. We have one summary note there. Feathers are truly amazing. They not only allow the bird to fly, but also protect and insulate it, or keep it warm. Okay, our key phrase for today is uses of feathers. Our next lesson will be on spread your wings and fly. Materials for the next lesson, we will have paper planes, kites, or A4 papers to make paper planes. Thank you for your participation, model class and receiving students. Have a nice day with your teacher.
You are welcome, Mr. Manau, and thank you for your lesson.
Thank you.